The children's memorial is quiet. A breeze moves the edges of a worn blue ribbon tied to a fence post. Soft footsteps echo in the background. And then a teddy bear is placed gently on the ground. It's not just any teddy bear. It's the one she once gave to her daughter. And in that moment, quiet, private, profoundly human, duty met memory. And Princess Anne left more than flowers behind in Ukraine. Before we dive in, there's something I need to share with you. Over the past few days, thousands have watched these stories unfold, but most haven't subscribed. If you're one of them, I invite you now to join us. Subscribe to Crownverse so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding royal history. Now, back to the story. On September 30th, 2025, Princess Anne made an unannounced and deeply symbolic visit to Ukraine, a trip not previously publicized, planned quietly, and authorized directly by the UK's Foreign Office. She wasn't there for a state banquet or a photo op. She came for the children. The Princess Royal, known for her relentless work ethic and famously no-nonsense approach to royal duty, has long been considered the monarchy's most dependable figure. And on this visit, she stepped into a war-torn region not to dominate headlines, but to bear witness. The visit's focal point, a quiet memorial site dedicated to Ukrainian children lost during the ongoing conflict. The details of the stop were brief in the official itinerary, but those on the ground remember one moment in particular. When Anne placed a stuffed bear at the foot of the memorial, she turned to Ukraine's First Lady, Olena Zelenska, and made a personal comment. According to first-hand accounts, she said, quietly, "That was one that my daughter had." No fanfare, no explanation. Just a mother referencing a piece of her child's childhood, now repurposed as a gesture of solidarity. The daughter in question, Zara Tyndall. And while the palace has not expanded on the comment, royal observers have noted that the gesture carries a deeply symbolic weight. Zara Tyndall, the daughter of Princess Anne and granddaughter of Queen Elizabeth II, was raised without royal titles. She lives in Gloucestershire with her husband Mike Tyndall and their 3 children. Unlike her cousins William and Harry, Zara was spared the intensity of royal protocol, yet she remains deeply entwined in the family's public life. The teddy bear comment, simple on its face, is being interpreted by some commentators as more than just a sentimental aside. Some suggest it was Anne's subtle way of grounding the humanitarian crisis in a universal experience. A mother remembering her child, connecting emotionally across borders. Others say it was a calculated moment of soft power, a reminder that the crown can act with compassion, not just ceremony. But not everyone sees it as strategic. Some palace insiders have hinted that the moment caught even the communications staff by surprise. It wasn't part of the plan, and it wasn't part of the official message. Which raises a quiet, unsettling question. What happens when one of the firm's most reliable voices speaks unscripted? Let's not forget, this is Princess Anne we're talking about. A woman famously described by her late father Prince Philip as the only one who doesn't complain and never explains. She has spent more than 5 decades in royal service, logging more engagements than any other working royal year after year. So when she speaks, especially off-script, people listen. But it wasn't just the teddy bear. The visit itself, while focused on humanitarian support, carried subtle diplomatic undertones. Anne met with key Ukrainian officials and made stops at medical centers treating children wounded in the war. No speeches were delivered, no press conferences were held, but the message, many believe, was clear. The crown stands with Ukraine. This isn't without precedent. In times of global crisis, members of the royal family have often served as unofficial ambassadors, navigating the delicate lines between diplomacy and symbolism. During World War II, Princess Elizabeth broadcast to British children from Windsor Castle. In the post-war years, the Queen made historic visits to Germany, Ireland, and South Africa, each carefully choreographed to convey reconciliation, solidarity, or strength. Anne's visit falls within that lineage, but the teddy bear comment gave it a new dimension. And here's where the speculation begins. Shortly after images of the memorial surfaced online, the palace's communications team released a brief statement confirming the visit and praising the courage of Ukrainian families. But behind closed doors, some suggest the mood was far from coordinated. According to unconfirmed sources, senior aides were caught off guard by the coverage surrounding the bear. It was meant to be a moment of quiet dignity, not a headline. But others saw an opportunity. In a palace increasingly focused on modernizing its image, especially amid transitions in power and public scrutiny, Anne's emotional gesture was a rare and relatable moment. It humanized the royal family. And perhaps, unintentionally, it did more for royal diplomacy than any official speech could. It's worth noting that Anne's relationship with her daughter Zara has often been portrayed as relaxed, grounded, and largely free of palace theatrics. Despite being a royal, Zara carved her own path, becoming an Olympic equestrian, a working mother, and someone who has publicly acknowledged the challenges of balancing tradition with freedom. That Anne referenced Zara in such a poignant context adds another layer to the moment. It's not just about Ukraine, it's about memory, identity, and motherhood. But here's where things get murky. Some tabloids have run with the idea that the bear was more than symbolic, that Anne may have seen in the suffering of Ukrainian mothers an echo of her own anxieties about the royal future of her children and grandchildren. Others have speculated, again without confirmation, that the gesture was a subtle critique of recent royal choices, stripped titles, changing protocols, and a family wrestling with its own definition of duty. Is Anne, the monarchy's most loyal servant, quietly challenging the palace's current direction? There's no way to know, and she's certainly not going to explain. But as with so many royal moments, silence can speak volumes. Meanwhile, reactions across the Commonwealth have varied. In Canada and Australia, where discussions about the monarchy's future remain active, commentators praised Anne's humility. In the UK, newspapers describe the visit as vintage Anne, dutiful, discreet, and deeply personal. And while the teddy bear moment may not have been scripted, its impact was undeniable. We return now to that fence post in Kyiv. The ribbons still flutter. The bear still rests beneath the names. And for those who witnessed the visit, the image of a British princess quietly placing a piece of her daughter's past in a place of mourning lingers, as a reminder that monarchy, at its best, is not about crowns or courts, but compassion. In the end, whether you believe the gesture was spontaneous or strategic, heartfelt or highly orchestrated, one thing is clear. Princess Anne continues to serve not just with discipline, but with depth. And in a world craving authenticity, that might be the most powerful royal message of all. What did you think of Princess Anne's gesture? Was it the monarchy at its most human, or something more calculated? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the hidden world of the crown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us here on Crownverse, where royal history lives on.